What's going on? Kevin Kenny here. Welcome to the Build Series live in New York City. And we're about to be joined on stage by a sibling duo that, chart accolades aside, I think have accomplished nearly the impossible in the world of popular music. They have not self-destructed yet. So if the Gallagher brothers are watching right now, they want to start binge watching Build, start with this episode. Their new album is out February 1st, and it's called Don't Feed the Pop Monster. Please let's give a very warm welcome to Broods.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you guys?
Really good.
Really
good. It's kind of nice to be in this weather. We've been in New Zealand summer, so it's quite nice to have like a reason to wear a jacket.
I was going to say, what weather are you referring to? Because we've had quite the crazy week here in New York City. It was
Yeah,
like
I've
freezing
heard.
on Monday.
Yeah, I heard we missed the really cold.
It was insane.
I'm not mad at that though because
No?
I did not prepare at all for cold weather.
What is New Zealand weather
My
like?
pants open.
I've never been there.
It's pretty moderate.
Okay.
Doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. It's kind of just nice.
Yeah.
Just like the people there.
Yeah. Just
They
like
don't
Broods.
get too hot. They don't get too cold.
Yeah. Hey, I made the sibling joke at the top of the show, but in all seriousness, there's 4 siblings in the family, right? But only 2 in the band. So why did the other 2 not make the cut?
Well,
They were still at school
They were
when
still
we
in
started
school,
the
yeah.
band.
Okay.
That's our excuse.
Yeah.
But they do music as well, and
Oh, do they?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're also really, really good.
Really? I mean, I get the impression that you grew up in a musical household. Like, Caleb, how young were you when you wrote Mommy Daddy Shoes?
you'd have to ask my mother that. I don't really remember making that song.
I reckon
Okay.
you would have been about 2.
2.
Is this
Yeah.
more of like
I
a
used
family
to,
story?
I used to get my ukulele out and get Dad's like a fixed pedal from his like electric guitar and
Toilet roll
a
holder.
toilet roll holder with a empty toilet roll just angled on precariously on the
Perfectly
top,
placed.
so it looked like a microphone.
And write songs
Yep.
with 3 words in them.
Yeah.
Now, this Broods, though, really started like as a thing after Georgia dropped out of uni, right? Or left university.
well-
University wasn't for you, I understand.
I mean, I went for 3 weeks. I don't think that,
I don't think that counts.
I
as
handed
going to
in-
university.
What was it
handed
about
in
it you didn't
one-
like?
Oh, just people telling me what to do.
Yeah.
I handed in one assignment, failed, and then I quit.
Right. Like, I'm going to be a pop star.
I was like, And then I also hated going on the train
Right.
to uni.
Oh, okay. So you're like commuting.
Yeah, just everything about being an adult at the time was really
Right.
awful.
I think it was one day she was crying on the train, and then the person opposite her on the train ended up being sat next to her in the lecture, and they had to be paired up for. Is
that a true story?
She's like,
Yes.
yes, I'm the girl that was crying on the train.
I was like, oh, awesome. This is
This is great. Freshman
And then-
orientation right
And then
there.
later on that day, I went to a lecture where there was a guest lecturer, and there was only 20 people in the class, and I fell asleep in the chair, and I didn't even have a desk in front of me. I was just like,
This is not for me.
and I was like, okay, well, that day was awful. Let's never do that again.
Yeah, those are probably all indicators, right? Maybe I should hit the road.
But it turned out fine, you know.
Yeah, you're here. You got a record on the way. I want to talk to you guys about.
Third record.
Yeah, that's
So we must be doing something okay.
everyone asks you about the name. You've been asked about the name like in every interview that I can find. But and I understand it's kind of it was like a happenstance. Like you needed a name, you had the music. But why was
Yeah.
it Broods? I've never heard that.
It just it was
Short.
loosely related to being siblings,
Okay.
And
a brood of like birds or ducks, and
yep. And that was enough at the time, and we just
Yeah.
chose to run with it.
Right.
it was short. I wanted it to be like one syllable.
Easy. Yeah. Brood is a funny word, right? Because I guess it means like kind of like
Yeah,
what you
people
said, but then
don't-
brooding is sort of like
also, we used to brood a lot.
yeah.
We've kind of let go of that, and we're going
Yeah.
a little bit more colourful, as you can see.
Well, let's talk about the name of the record, Don't Feed the Pop Monster. Who is the pop monster and why are we not feeding them?
The pop monster is the part of the industry that makes you feel like you have to be a certain thing or you won't succeed.
You have to do things a
nutshell?
certain way,
Right. Which is actually, it's an under-talked about thing and not to like,
in a certain order.
yeah, but it's like
But you
as a fan, you think, okay, well, I'm getting this Broods record, maybe a number of years ago, and this is authentically Broods, and we hope that's the case, but maybe not always the case.
No, I think like every artist goes through a different experience being in the industry, and we only really have ours to go off. But yeah, I mean, like you're often like when you come into the industry, you know, we came in really young and impressionable, and I think like you don't really know how to assert your opinion.
We were just happy to be there.
Yeah,
kind
that's
of thing.
literally what it was like. Just happy to be here.
So we compromised a couple of things.
Right.
And then we got dropped by our label, so we're like, okay, well that didn't work.
So obviously us compromising certain things doesn't work either. So let's not do that again.
Was it immediately accepted when you got dropped by the label? Was it immediately accepted by you guys as a blessing? Or was it more of a blessing in disguise over time?
I think initially it was definitely, we felt like a blessing because we were like waiting for it to happen.
Okay,
We knew it was going to happen. We were just like, can you already just cut it off
Yeah.
so we can move on?
Right.
And it was liberating at the beginning, but then like
and then
you
it
know,
was terrifying.
yeah, there was a time that we were like, how are we going to release this next record? We like it a lot, and it's like the best work we think we've ever done, but how are we going to like pay for it to get
How are we going to
out
pay
there?
for it?
How are we going to pay the money? Oh, the money, that's right. But then we kind of just completely landed on our feet, like, and with our new record label, Neon Gold, and it's been kind of dreamy ever since, which is awesome. And I think like,
Instead of poking holes in what we were doing, they were just like, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
awesome,
Yeah.
let's go.
which is
Yeah.
a great sign
Oh, of
when
course.
somebody like just hears what you've got to say, and they're like, cool.
Because we already had the record when we signed. We were like,
Oh,
this
really?
is it.
That's awesome.
Here you go. If you don't want it, cool.
Right. I want to ask you about that because you have more control than ever before in your career, and I love the way you open this record. The song is called Stevie and Sting, I believe.
Oh,
We had to change it
had
to
change
Sucker
it.
because we didn't want to get sued by
Okay.
Stevie or
So what do we want to
Sting.
call it now?
It's called
Sucker.
Sucker.
Sucker. All right.
Sucker.
Like
Sucker.
sucker.
Yeah.
Sucker.
Okay.
So we don't pronounce R's in New Zealand.
Sucker's kind of cool.
Kind of like Boston.
Yeah.
Ka.
That's
Car
really
park.
funny.
Kappa.
So let's talk about Sucker. You open this record. I'm assuming it's the same song though, so I can talk.
Oh yes,
It's
it's
the
the
exact same.
same
Yeah.
song, start to finish.
But sonically, it's a song that commands your attention immediately. I threw on this record. You guys passed it along to me before we chatted today, and I was going to throw it on in the background. I was doing some errands around, my apartment, whatever, and then I actually was like, oh, what the heck is this? I got to sit down. I got to listen to this. So talk to me about the process, the thought process of opening the record in the way that this record does.
I mean, that song didn't actually sound like that to start with either.
We wrote it in Nashville, and it kind of sounded
And it sounded a lot more Nashville when
Yeah.
we wrote it.
Okay.
very like
Then it developed into what it is now. It was very 12-stringy, a lot of harmonies, more like a Fleetwood Mac song.
yeah. But I think like when we started writing the rest of the record, we decided to go back and like make it more of a cohesive production. But the song itself, I think, is
I think we just wanted the production to match the message as well
Right.
of the song.
yeah.
Right.
But the message of the song is basically like kind of what brought us into this whole mindset of making an album without like filtering ourselves or thinking about radio play or thinking about like this is what people want to hear. I think like trends come and go a lot, and like what you have at the end of the day is the stuff that hits you here and like really
you got what
affects you as a person. And I think like that was the kind of music that we wanted to make on this record because that's the kind of music that we are affected by. And so I don't know, I think like we dug really deep when we wrote this record, and everything's kind of like, it's quite a bright sounding record, but if you read the lyrics without the music, it sounds so depressing.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that actual aspect of this record, the bright sounds with the dark lyrics. What is it about that attracts you as artists to that? I know you described it as
It's
a
a
release.
great therapy exercise. Making
Okay.
something fun and bouncy out of something kind of sad.
How so though? Because that's an interesting idea. You've said in past interviews it's like a release for you guys. But how is it like a release?
I think like things that feel quite confronting, like feelings that are all consuming, and we're in our early 20s, and I think that's a huge like growth spurt with a lot of growing pains, and so we had to kind of, I guess, navigate what we were going through and all the different times we'd been shedding our skin and like falling apart and coming back together. The way that we navigate that is by writing about it and hoping that somebody else will kind of like get what we're trying to say
Right.
and connect with somebody over that.
Which is usually the case, even with like friends and everything. You feel like you're alienated into a certain emotion or something, and as soon as you bring it up with the people around you, instantly you're like, oh, everyone else goes through that too.
It's almost like a comedian, I'd imagine, you know, like joking about tragedy, right?
Absolutely. I think it's a very similar thing, but for us, like when we are on stage and we're like playing a song that has once like held so much weight to us and now like is liberating us, it's quite like, it's cathartic.
Yeah.
And songs that are about experiences that we've been through that have like really hurt us or affected us in a negative way, all of a sudden can become something super positive and super like
Constructive.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about the stage there, Georgia. You said in a recent interview that the album being out, you know, typical question you'll get in interviews like this, like, how does it feel? You know, what are the emotions? But it's not real to you until you actually perform it in front of people, I understand.
Totally. I think like it's really hard to measure whether what you're putting out is being received well until you play it to people and you see like your fans or face to face, like singing or sometimes crying. That's always great when somebody's bawling their eyes out in the front row, and I'm like, how am I supposed to just be chill?
How am I supposed to keep it together up here when you're losing the plot?
But I kind of secretly love it when people cry at our shows because like I am a real crier, and I don't know, I just I don't know, I get joy out of seeing people cry about our music.
When's the last time you cried?
Oh, I don't think I should say.
Can you?
No.
Is it embarrassing? Like why wouldn't you say?
It's super embarrassing. Because it's embarrassing and it's also...
Were you watching like a movie or like what were you doing? Were you listening to a song?
No.
Just after a certain activity.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks at home. Speaking of activities, I like this quote I heard you guys say that you can do anything to Broods music. It's kind of, you know, it goes with any activity. I heard you guys say this recently. What is the craziest thing or weirdest thing you've heard or seen somebody do to Broods music?
Sometimes you get tagged in a lot of like pole dance videos on like Instagram and things like that.
Okay.
Or like someone doing a handstand or something, and they just got your music in the. Or
I think that is, you know, just goes to show you can do handstands, pole dancing.
You can twerk,
cry
maybe?
hysterically.
Do people twerk to Broods music?
I've tried.
Okay.
I love
some
attempting
songs,
to twerk.
maybe.
All right.
I think
What's the best twerk anthem on the new record?
Maybe Hospitalized.
Well, you know, we just released the video for Hospitalized today, and
It's got twerking in it.
It's got twerking in it.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Our friend Dante is twerking.
Okay.
Twerking it
Dante
off.
Coley.
Yes or
Anybody know who
Dante's?
Dante
Who's the-
Coley
who's
is?
the
Because you
twerking
need
Dante?
it.
Twerking Dante.
He's
He's
like
a goddamn gem.
Yeah?
He is an
A
angel from heaven who we have been following for a while on his Instagram, and he does like, we kind of like got into him because he does these like hard out like twerking videos to
Songs
like
that shouldn't be.
to songs like
Yeah.
to what's that song Torn that
Yeah.
a man brought to life, and he's just like
Fully going.
and he's like. And that's my attempt, and we'll just don't even worry about that. But he's so funny and like so sweet, and he did like this inspirational dance video for the new year, and like everybody just lapped it up, and we're like, yes,
Go, baby.
yes.
Him in the video.
Well, that
was
before
after we got him in the video.
Oh, really?
we'd
Oh, it
already
was like
blew
perfect
up.
timing.
we'd already shot the video and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Which was so kind of strange and crazy and amazing timing. But yeah, he's awesome. He's beautiful.
I'm a big fan of, speaking of your videos, the Peach video.
Oh, thank you.
And it's obviously, you know, a nod to yesteryear. There's a bit of a nostalgic throwback vibe in there. And I've read about the new record. Nostalgia is like a bona fide influence with the new music, is it not?
I think like it's always been, but in this record particularly, like I think, I don't know, we just kind of went back to our roots in a sense for this one.
Yeah.
Did we? Yeah, kind of. Like I think like we just started listening to a lot of the music that we were listening to in high school.
We went back on like what we used to listen to alone, like listening to a lot of what our parents used to listen to. Again, after years and years of having that break, and you have a new appreciation for it. And
I think the songs that kind of like stay with you, you know, those nostalgic ones and the ones that like kind of stay relevant through all the different changes that you go through as a person. And I think that was what we were aiming for when we wrote this record, is to make something that would stay with people no matter what like
it won't date
situation they were in. And
Right.
I was saying today that the only way you can really achieve that is when you dig really deep and you speak from like that very, very core place in you, because all the surface level stuff, it's ever changing and it's fickle, but those things that every human experiences, those are the things that like connect us, and that's what art is for, to make sense of that kind of
to come together
the
and go,
real,
I feel the same way.
yeah,
Right.
all the confusing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just on the topic of, you know, digging back deeper into the songs that stay with you your whole life, songs you listen to as a kid. As artists, like, what do you think of nostalgia? Because as a music listener, as a music fan like I am, I think we're in a very nostalgic period in popular music, right? Like the 90s are huge right now, and I don't think that's anything new. Artists have always sort of reached back into different decades and eras for inspiration.
90s was pretty honest. That's why.
Yeah, and I think like the climate of what is going on in the world at the moment, and how people are kind of waking up to what they actually think, and they have to have an opinion, and they can't just follow around anymore. Like, I think that has a huge influence in pop culture, and people are really standing up and like saying what they mean. And I think that was like what we wanted to do with this record, and like something that we always have been really, really passionate about, keeping an open dialogue about, is like mental health, and making that like a normal thing to talk about. And because we're both very good friends with
We're both
anxiety.
mental. We have very similar struggles, and
I think that's our purpose in the industry, like to share what we've been through, not just like through our music, but like in every interview we do, we talk about like this kind of thing. And I think that's, what am I saying there? That's just what we wanted to achieve, basically.
And it's important. You're actually doing it on this new album, a song that's not out right now. It's called Too Proud, and it's unique in a number of ways. Caleb, you take lead vocals on Too Proud.
I do.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I don't. I was like, who's this mystery man?
I do.
And then on top of it, you're talking about mental health, but then even I think something that could be talked about a bit more in popular music is male depression.
Yes.
And kind of just
Yeah.
being a bit
Yes.
more open of like, we're not maybe the tough
Yeah.
guys we'd always like to be.
Yeah, there's a huge stigma about men and mental health, and how men have to be tough and hard, and
It's
like
dumb.
they can't be vulnerable. But I guess trying to break that stigma, and talking to other men about getting help, going to see therapists and stuff, because therapy is dope.
Yeah.
It's so much easier, like dealing with things like that, when you can talk to someone, even if it's just a friend or anybody. But like,
I think it's
it's-
important to feel heard, and when you start like having an open dialogue about stuff like that, you know, it's just so much easier if you just have to normalize it, because anything can become normal if you let it. And like, we
if
wanted
you
to
don't
do
talk about it, then it just
then
gets
that
bigger
becomes
and bigger
normal.
and bigger, and darker and darker and darker. And you know.
and that's a hole
lose
that
control
is
of it.
very hard to get out of.
When did you guys start going to therapy?
I've been multiple times
I
in my
started
life.
going this year.
This year.
Yeah.
How did it affect you as an artist? Because there has to be like a before and after. Like it must have had a big
Yeah.
effect. No?
This year, no, last year.
Last year. It's 2019, everybody.
It's true.
I forgot.
The album's out in 2 weeks, just FYI.
1 week.
Oh, is it one? It's February. It's February next week.
Yes,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry.
it's gonna be.
I'm living in the
year.
past like Caleb is. All right. So yeah, we are in 2019, but you started going last year. And how
Yeah.
has it affected you as an artist? You
It
think?
changed my life more as a person than an artist, I'd say.
Okay.
I think it bleeds
But
into your
But it must be
naturally
intertwined,
becomes,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I had to deal with like it personally first before I could turn it into art, I guess.
Right.
But I just didn't know how easy it could be to get out of those holes as soon as you start talking to someone, because it was like, it's quite a slow descent when you go in and you don't really notice it happening. Sometimes you don't even know that you're in that hole until you come out.
Right.
And so I was like and all of a sudden we wrote that song in probably the happiest week of my life, which is funny because it's like the most depressing song I've ever written. It's the only real song that I've sung on ever. Yeah, where am I going with this? I don't know.
I think like you're saying when you have like that contrast of feeling like you get out of it, you can realize just how deep you can go into those lulls. And
yeah, as soon as you reach out for help, it's like very quick, the rise out of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And I think you probably needed to be in that happy place because it brought you the awareness to speak you know, articulately about what you've been through.
It was more like a reflection than I wrote it as a reflection, not as like I'm in it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was more of this is what happened. Let's not have it happen again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think like now those kind of times, they don't stop coming, but you just build up tools and
Being
stuff.
aware
and, like,
of it.
And you build up like self-awareness and stuff. And I think we have been working really hard to stay like open with each other about what we're going through. After all the stuff that happened, and like it was a bit hard for a bit, and like knowing that it gets so much easier and it's so much less intimidating if you just like speak up is just like a huge weight off. And like honestly, just everybody just talk about your problems, please, because it's so much easier. And you know, you're not going through anything by yourself. Like honestly, there is millions of other people that have always like been through it and got through it. So
Someone's always got it way worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Sounds funny, but it's true.
Except for one person in the world who's
got
probably
it the worst.
And that guy.
And that guy
What a champion.
or girl.
So I'll send our thoughts to him. Well, I think, you know what, I'm excited for this to be out, not just because the music sounds great, but I think it's going to be sort of a utility or a companion for people going through things.
I hope so.
It does. It kind of feels
for
like
us.
it feels like a soundtrack to your 20s, where you're just like, where am I? What am I doing? Where am I
know
going?
nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I figured it out. No, I didn't. Just kidding. I don't know anything.
When you're like 20, you're like, I know everything.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
and then
totally.
you're 23, you're like,
29, you feel like an infant.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God, I feel
imagine.
like I'm getting dumber by the day. No, I think like, yeah, it's definitely a hugely personal album to us, and I think that it will be personal to whoever it reaches. And I think the people that we do connect with through this music, it's going to be really, really deep connections and really, really real connections.
Yeah.
And that's exciting, you know. I can't wait to play this live and like really feel like.
wait for people to hear it.
Yeah. Well, first let's put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then play it live and see all the people crying in the front row, and I'll just be right there with them.
And that'll be
All of my
mission
eyes.
accomplished. You'll love that.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, yes, tears everywhere.
All right.
You
Tears.
get to cry, you get to
Cry
cry,
party
you get to
tour.
cry.
It's going to be a tearful February 1st. The record is out next Friday. Don't Feed the Pop Monster. One more time for Broods, everybody.